Hello and welcome to my bed. I know this looks like the setup of like a porno or something, and I promise it's not. I am starting an OnlyFans. I'm joking. I might. We'll see. We'll see how the month goes financially. But speaking of sexy porn, we today are talking about dating, which, you know, can be sexy if you're doing it right, which I am not. So, but I received some questions about dating and ADHD, and I feel qualified to do so since I am a person dating with ADHD. If you're looking for real advice, talk to a professional. So I've been single for a while now, and for Haley, that's a month and a half. And I've found that there are maybe more struggles because of ADHD than I was maybe expecting. I've always had ADHD. It's not like this is a brand new thing. This is the first time that I'm dating and I'm super aware that I have ADHD. In the past, I wasn't diagnosed. And so I'm really looking at dating as a whole new lens, with a whole new lens. Thank you. But some of the questions I got, I think were really important and interesting. So I wanted to dive into them together. This is Obi. He's a wonderful emotional support dog. His fur works really well to soak up tears, I've learned. And dating's been going well. Why do I feel such intense emotions for someone and then lose interest all of a sudden? We have this amazing ability to hyper-focus on things that pique our interest, and that also translates into how we function with other people. And so the fact is that when someone has piqued our interest and maybe we feel comfortable around them, or they're just hot, I don't know, we can really become super hyper fixated on them and build a version of them in our head that might not actually exist. Does that make sense? I definitely stayed with people in the past in relationships because I was in love with the version of them in my head, not the version I was receiving in front of me. And I think why all of a sudden we'll just lose interest seemingly out of nowhere is because that hyperfixation has worn off or something else has become more interesting. So that could be starting to talk to somebody new, or even having more interest in a video game than talking to this person. And we fall into a bit of the out of sight, out of mind type mentality where we're no longer hyperfixated on them, and so seemingly we don't care about them at all anymore, which isn't always the case. It might just mean that our interests have, diverted to something else, which is okay. You don't have to be completely and totally hyper fixated on a partner. It's probably better not to be, right? I find it really hard to talk to multiple people at once. I very much am the type of person that I put my interest into one person, but I'm trying very hard to take everything someone says with a grain of salt. I heard it said somewhere that the red flags you see in the first month of knowing somebody will become the thing that ends up destroying a relationship, so you need to be aware of those. I'm so fucking aware of them. I can't turn it off now. Anytime anyone does anything, I immediately am like, I don't want to see them anymore or talk to them anymore because I get the ick now so fast. Yeah, so I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing to become at first hyperfixated with somebody. The problem is that's not maintainable, and so it's reevaluating why that hyperfixation is a thing, and if that is because of the version you've created in your head or because of the actual person in front of you, and then learning how to adjust that hyperfixation so it's manageable and maintainable. Because if you like someone and you want to stay with them, you need to not completely lose interest with them in a month. How RSD plays a role in relationships, especially in the bedroom. I think my RSD is one of the reasons I am not a hookup person. For those of you that don't know, RSD stands for rejection sensitivity dysphoria. This is the fear of rejection, which is a huge thing while you're dating people because you're either constantly rejecting other people or constantly being rejected yourself, or there's just you're not trying and there's no interest, and so it feels like it's just a continual rejection because you're not getting a standout number of people looking to date you. Did that get too real too fast? But I think for me with RSD, what happens is I have such an intense desire to satisfy and please my partner in all ways, not just in the bedroom, but the idea that I don't know somebody well enough to be able to do that makes me not want to do them in that moment. And so I think I've been trying to look at RSD as a protection response, right? It's my body's way of saying, hey, we have the potential of being hurt. I want to protect myself. And so I'm going to isolate, avoid, seek comfort in maybe more toxic ways. And so I'm trying to just sit with those feelings and allow myself to really process it, because the thing with ADHD is our mind moves so fast that I find that I'm unable to do something called passive processing, which is where you can work through emotions in a situation without actually having to actively sit down with it. I think a lot of neurotypical people are able to do this and don't even realize it, whereas my brain is on 10 things at once that I can't focus enough to allow myself to process my feelings about something. So I've been sitting down more with these RSD feelings and being like, you know what? It's okay that I'm not a hookup person because of my RSD. I'm okay with that being a protection method my brain and body are using. If I wasn't okay with that and I didn't feel like I wanted to do that, I would then be able to work on it because I'm actively processing. So that's kind of cool. I think one thing that is important to note is that one ADHD person does not necessarily show all of the traits of ADHD or what ADHD will look like in everyone. My ADHD is very different than other people's. Because I am a person that is so hyperactive, I can't speak to the experience of someone that is super inattentive. I do have inattentive qualities as well and symptoms. I'm very good at just being completely stuck in my head and my body shuts down because of that. But that'll look different from me to somebody else. And so the biggest thing when you are dating someone that has ADHD, so if you're listening to this and you're a person that doesn't have ADHD yourself, but maybe you're with someone that does, it's communicating with that person and being able to say, what does this look like for you and how will it affect our relationship and how can I help manage it? And if you're a person that has ADHD, dating somebody that also has ADHD or doesn't is still communicating your needs and what you need out of a partner. For example, for myself, I know it is extremely hard for my brain, and this might be a combination of ASD, autism as well, but when plans are changed, even in a slight way at the last second, my brain becomes very inattentive. It shuts down in a lot of ways. And so I have to make that very clear when I start dating somebody or I get more interested in them that hey, I need 24 hours notice if something's going to change. And the truth is if somebody can't understand that, they're not the person for me. I know my needs, and I'm not going to pretend as though those are going to change anytime soon. If that's too difficult to manage, then that sucks, I guess. So really what it comes down to, re-entering the dating world for me has been being ruthless with dating. I don't want to fucking settle, and I don't want to do that, and you shouldn't settle either. It's so easy for me to seek comfort as fast as possible. If someone is giving me love and attention and making me feel safe and I start to seek comfort in them, it's very easy for me to fall really hard, really fast, and ignore a lot of the red flags or the little things in my brain going, wait, this maybe doesn't work for these reasons. I can overlook those because comfort is just such a necessity for me. And so now being in the dating world again, I'm super aware of that. And I'm actively trying to seek that comfort out in productive ways. So through friendships or through family or through, having a solid routine that's maintainable by myself with no other people involved. And that's made the experience a lot easier. I don't feel pressured to be going on dates constantly. I don't feel pressured to be talking to a bunch of people. But I also totally could be if I wanted to be. I mean, if we want to get real, fuck it, let's get fucking real. Dating's scary. Whoa, am I gonna cry? What's happening right now? Dating's scary. Having to let somebody into your world, it's scary. having the opportunity for someone to say to you, no, you're too much, or you have too many needs, or it's too hard to be with you, that's scary. And that plays into the RSD, right? That fear, that just deep fear of being rejected. I just don't want to live in a state of fear anymore. And I know that the way to avoid that is by finding somebody as fast as possible and getting into a relationship again. But I think more than anything is I'm learning that I have to be comfortable with myself before I can really commit to a relationship again. And some of my needs that, were originally met by a partner, I've now had like my assistant step in with more things to help me with. And my friends and support are more consistently hanging out, and I'm seeing them more frequently. And that, dating doesn't have to be scary if you are comfortable and confident on your own. So I'm working on that. But it's fucking hard. It's not easy to be like, I'm 100% comfortable and confident and all my needs are being met by myself and the people around me. I'd say the thing that I learned the most over this last period of time with being single is that and this is gonna maybe come off as arrogant or cocky or whatever, but I fucking rock. I do. And I'm gonna say it and be confident about it. I make an amazing, amazing partner. And I'm starting to treat myself the way that I want someone to treat me. So I'm buying myself flowers. I'm taking myself on little dates. I'm prioritizing my health and my wellness. And I'm doing all of those things because I don't need somebody else to do them for me. But when the day comes that someone wants to do those things for me, and they're a helpful, kind, productive person, then great, I will welcome it with open arms. But yeah, right now the priority is Haley. Whoa, she's crying. I did my makeup really nice today, so I'm trying to suck them back in. Anyways, I didn't get to as many questions as I wanted to. I kind of started rambling and ranting a little bit, but I hope you don't feel so alone in your process of dating. And if you do have questions, honestly, anything that I can answer, this is an email address I will have in my bio of this episode as well, but it'll also be in the description if you're watching on YouTube. I want to be doing more of these episodes to just talk and answer questions and be real, so that you don't have to feel so alone, because I know when I listen to someone going through the same struggles as me, I don't feel so alone, and that makes them easier to digest and move forward. So thanks for watching me cry like a little bitch. Love you dearly, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.